One thing which was really hard for us as a married couple to think about in doing an apprenticeship was the finances, learning how we would juggle our mortgage, our bills, all those expenses, and fundraising in that time. So that was a big challenge for us to work through, but when we were able to think through, we need to trust God with our finances, that was a big step for us.
As I was considering doing an apprenticeship, my husband and I spoke about it a lot. He was incredibly supportive, but the reality was I had been running my own business for 6 years. This was something that I'd poured incredible amounts of time and energy into, many highs and lows. But running a business is really like, it's your baby. It's something that it's everything that you do, you pour into that. Now, I made the decision to give up my business and do an MTS apprenticeship, but it was a decision of faith because I just really wasn't sure how this apprenticeship was going to turn out and what would even happen after those 2 years, but I'm incredibly glad that I took that step of faith.
A big challenge for me was actually getting approval from my parents to do it. There's a big factor of going from a job that pays well to a job where you have to raise your own funds, and that's quite anxiety inducing for your parents. What helped me was actually talking to each of my parents individually and to hear their concerns and really affirm the concerns they have, but also flesh out the reasons why I want to do it, and then praying about it, and also talking through people at church and talking through together to work out a solution.
One of the things I had to work through before I started my apprenticeship was the financial side of things. I had to raise all of my financial partnership, and I had a really hard time wrestling with the feeling of I wasn't worth it. It's not worth financially giving me money to be able to do this role. But as time went on and I talked with people, they were more than happy to invest in what they saw as preparing me for a lifetime of ministry, but also doing 2 years of really solid ministry. It was a way for them to partner in gospel work for the sake of God's kingdom.
I've struggled with anxiety for a few years, so I was encouraged to wait a year before I did my apprenticeship, and I went to counselling a fair bit and just worked out how to trust God with a lot of my anxieties and worries before doing it.
Yeah, something that was hard for me was that I didn't have, and I don't have, a uni degree or something that I had studied previously doing to MTS. And so choosing to MTS, I kind of thought ahead and thought, like, what am I going to do long term? So that freaked me out a little bit. But how I got through it was I just chatted to a lot of really wise and godly people and just realised that these 2 years are not going to be a waste. I'm going to be teaching people about the most important thing, and it's the best way that I can really be spending my 2 years.
So firstly, it's family responsibility. So I'm a firstborn where I come from. And culturally speaking, where I come from, a lot is expected of the firstborn. So you're supposed to take care of the family financially speaking. Secondly, it's family status. So my parents are middle class, so both of them are teachers. But from where they come from, that's something big. It's a big achievement for them. And so more is expected of me from society as compared to a lot of my peers. And so there was just that, and I think it was really an unhelpful way of viewing myself. I guess it would be pride. And then lastly, it's society's expectation, as I've already mentioned. So it was just family responsibility, family status, and society's expectation of myself. And how I actually resolved it, I think what helped, I don't think I set out to resolve it, but I guess God really helped in the sense that I found myself a lot of the time around Christians, and so in Christian circles, so people who just live gospel-centered lives. When they decide where to move, they are thinking about how they want to spread the gospel. And so that really helped, because I think I spent less time around people who don't share the same values that I share. And